Hey guys, it is Dev and I'm here with another video for you guys. Now in today's video I'm going to be talking about air travel. Now the reason I haven't been uploading for the past month or so besides the Little Pump speed up video is because for the first week of the summer I was really sick for about a week, and then this part is really sad, and this is why I'm not going to be monetizing the video. My grandfather sadly has passed away, and he passed away 2 days ago at the time of this recording. Today is July 5th, so that would have been July. Now he had been admitted to the hospital originally because he had a minor stroke, but then it was discovered that he had cancer, and he was in the hospital for about a week and a half, and then he sadly passed away like I just mentioned. And it's really hard for me to deal with this right now, and I might make a whole video on it. I don't think I'm going to, because I don't think it needs a whole video on its own. And if you guys have been following me on social media, which I will put on screen right now, I have been tweeting and posting a bit on my story on Instagram about the whole thing and the whole process. And he was actually originally given 3 to 6 months to live, but then the second day, like the day after he was given that prediction, he actually coded, which basically is where your heart stops. And then for the last 3 days he was on oxygen, and then he sadly passed away, which I mentioned before. I will not be monetizing this video because of that, because I don't want to seem like I'm trying to make money off of someone's death. And I'm going to try to keep this video upbeat. Just because my grandfather passed away doesn't mean that I should be, depressed in a video. I can do that in another video if you guys want me to make a whole video on it. But anyways guys, let's get on with the video, because I really just want to be in a good mood right now, and I really don't want to be depressed, because I was depressed the last couple days and for the past week, but I just want to be happy and enjoy life, because life is not fun when you're depressed. But anyways guys, let's get on with the video. Now, one of the things I really hate about airlines is the long lines. Now, a lot of times this has to do with checking in your bags, which is easily solved by checking them in online, which is what I did when I went to DC about a year ago last summer, where we flew Delta and we checked in our bags online, which meant right when we got to the airport, we just put our bags down and they would just check them in, and we didn't have to wait in that long line for them to register our bags. Now, another thing I was saying was airport security lines are really long. Now, I understand this because especially after 9/11, airports are really tight on their security, and I understand. I mean, it makes flying a lot safer, and it's nice to know that there are people out there that are making sure that we can fly safely and that we won't have a chance of dying. Now, one of the cons about having this tight security is that the airport officers will be really strict because they're taking their job seriously, and sometimes they can really be assholes. I don't want them to be like, oh yay, happy. I just want them to respect me as a human being. Now, when they start being assholes is actually, this happened to my grandmother about maybe a year ago when she went to San Francisco to visit my uncle. Now, for some reason they pulled her aside. What they did was they had her stand up with her arms out. Now, she has a cane, and obviously since her cane's metal, they took it away. So I mean, it's metal and it could obviously be used as a weapon, but the thing is, she could stand there for maybe 30 seconds to a minute without her cane, but there was plastic canes to the side, and she kept asking, I need a cane, I need a cane, but the officer didn't give her a cane at all, and they just doing all these searches, and then they searched her stuff, and they were just taking a really long time, and they were just acting like she had a bomb or something. So I don't understand why they were searching her as if they were trying to find something. I mean, they do that to random people. The typical pat down is probably all you need, and I mean, they're already scanning the bag, so if you don't find anything suspicious in the x-ray, why go through their stuff? I don't understand. Now, the thing I mentioned earlier is that the flight security is there to make your flight safe. Now, the thing is, in order to be in a fatal plane crash, you would have to fly for 55,000 years every day to be in a fatal plane crash, or 1 in 96,566. When you travel, try to bring only what you need. So when you're packing, just take a second glance of what you're packing and say, do I really need this? And if you think you will need it, then go ahead and pack it, but if you don't need it, then you can leave it. Now, don't try to rush the plane to put your luggage in a compartment because you have an assigned seat. Now, this often happens when I'm boarding a plane. A lot of people will just rush the plane and try to get on as quickly as they can. You have an assigned seat, so you're gonna get there whenever. Doesn't matter if you get on first or you get on last, you're going to get there, and that seat comes along with a compartment, and so you'll definitely have space to put your stuff in there. Now, another thing is you're gonna want to bring some cash on the plane, because the only free food on planes often are just like those tiny peanut bags, and that's really not enough to keep you full on like a long, maybe 6-7 hour flight. So make sure to bring some cash. And I think planes now are offering credit cards, but I'm just saying that they will at least take cash, so make sure to bring some extra cash with you. And also, just a quick life hack: if you have a smartphone and a phone case, in between the phone case and the phone, slip some cash in there, so that way if you're in an emergency situation, you'll have some extra cash. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about is priority boarding. Now, one of my favorite YouTubers, well, actually made an entire video about that. Now, that is in the description below, along with all the rest of my sources. But basically, he talked about how priority boarding costs around $20 to $30. Now, the thing is, you only will get on the plane an extra 2 minutes. And like I explained before, it doesn't matter when you get on that plane, you're going to get to your seat eventually. So it's just a waste of money. So save your money and just board the plane normally. Now, this is another way to save your money. Make sure that you fly on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Saturday. And if you're going to buy a group of tickets, buy one ticket at a time, and you'll save money that way. But if you want to be seated with your group, then obviously, you gotta buy them in a group. But if you don't care being split up with your group, then obviously you can just, pick out one ticket at a time, and you will save money. Now, you might ask yourself, wow, this ticket is really expensive, because a lot of times tickets will range. I've seen the cheapest tickets at like $150 to the most expensive ones at like over $2,000, which is pretty big range. Another YouTuber, Wendover Productions, made a video breaking down the ticket. Now, this is just estimations from a bunch of research he did, and this is based on a 1 hour long flight. Now, this is basically what it goes into. The crew costs $1.50. The fuel is $2.50. Ground maintenance is $13.50. The taxes are $15.60. Cost for the plane, like maintenance for the plane, is $11.50. Maintenance is $14. So people who oversee the flight, basically people who make sure that everything goes right, is $10. Insurance is 25 cents, and the rest is obviously for profit. Now, and I'm just saying, if you're gonna fly Spirit, say goodbye to your bank account, because they got a lot of fees and their prices are really bad. And I'll make a full video on Spirit in a little while. Now this is a pretty shitty thing to do, and I think it's probably illegal, but some people will actually fake needing a wheelchair or being disabled so that they can have priority boarding, because usually pregnant women and people who have disabilities or are in a wheelchair will go on first, because obviously, like I said earlier, people rush the plane so that they can get on the plane and have an easier time getting to their seats. Now, a lot of times you probably have it, airplane mode is on basically any phone that has been made within the past like 10 years. Now, the airlines, often they will tell you, please turn off your phones or put them in airplane mode, because what they want you to actually do is pay attention to the presentation, which you should, because they will explain a lot of stuff that you'll need to know in case of emergency. But the thing that the phone actually doesn't interfere with is communications. So just saying, for the flight and landing, I would say just put your phone away for a little while, but once you're in the air, it's okay to turn on. But just to be safe, I would recommend maybe keeping in airplane mode just to be safe. But now a lot of airlines, like especially Delta, have been including on-plane Wi-Fi, but that stuff usually costs extra. But I suggest downloading movies or music to your phone and computer so that you have some stuff to do on the plane, and you can always look up. There's tons of articles and stuff to do on a long flight. Now, I should have put that in the video, but I have a lot more stuff to tell you guys. I'm only like probably 20% of the way through my script. I have 2 pages of information to tell you guys, so this is probably gonna be a 20-minute video or so. Now, one way to save money is to bring a water bottle, but the thing is, you don't want to fill it before you go into security, because they might think that that is a bomb. But you can fill it up after security, like before you got on the plane. There's water fountains all over the place, so you can just fill up your water bottle. And a lot of airports have stations where you can actually fill up a water bottle, so it's a way to save money so that you don't need to buy the water on the plane. Now, one of the things is pilots will actually eat different food than the passengers so that they don't get food poisoning, just in case that the food that they're giving the passengers is bad, which it sometimes is. Now Now this might be a little creepy, so when you go to the bathroom, just know that the staff can open the door at any time they want. They only usually open it in case of emergencies, like if you're trapped or passed out and somehow trapped in the bathroom, they can open it from the outside. This is only in emergency cases though, so they probably won't open the door, but just know that in that bathroom that the staff can open it at any time. And actually, if you guys are wondering how they do that, it's usually by the smoke sign, usually the no smoking sign by the door. You have to lift that up and there will be a small latch. I'm not telling you guys to actually do this, but in a lot of the videos that mentioned it, they mentioned that you can open it that way, so I'm gonna just put it in. But I'm not condoning you guys to actually go to, when you're on a plane, to actually open the door when someone's using the bathroom. So if you guys comment saying, oh, I got sued by the airline because I opened the door when someone was using the bathroom because you told me to, no, don't, and don't say that I didn't warn you. Now, people often steal life jackets from the airplane as souvenirs, so when you're on the airplane, make sure that your life jacket is under your seat, and the airplane usually has extra life jackets. So if your life jacket is not there, make sure to notify a flight attendant so that they can give you a new life jacket to keep under your seat, so that way, in case the very unlikely chance that the plane crashes, you will have a life jacket, because you're not going to be in a situation where the plane crashes and you're in the ocean and you don't have a life jacket. Like, that would be a really bad situation, so make sure to know that when you are flying. Now, oftentimes the lights will dim during flight, and now you might think this is so that people get sleep better, but this is actually so if they crash during the night, that your eyes will already be adjusted to the light so that you will have an easier time of escaping. Now, only take your pet on a plane if you absolutely need to. They are left in a noisy, dark place for hours, depending on your flight. Maybe if it's only an hour flight, or maybe it's longer. I mean, some flights can last up to like 24 hours or longer, and they are left in there with no food, no water, and no access to a bathroom. So unless you absolutely need to take your pet, leave them at home. But also, if they are small enough, you can bring them as a carry-on, like a small, they make like little kennels you could bring your pets in for planes. But like if you have a really big dog, that might be a problem. But if you have like a smaller dog or a cat or anything like that smaller, like maybe like a hamster or something, or rats, I don't know why some people have different pets, but you can bring them as a carry-on. That way they are with you and they know they're safe. And a lot of times people will misplace luggage. The airports will misplace their luggage, and most airports do not have the equipment to take care of your pets. Now, I should have mentioned this earlier in the video, but airlines will often overbook their flights so that they can make sure that they can fill up their plane, because a lot of times people won't show up to the flight, and that leaves a bunch of empty seats. And if they don't have enough passengers on the plane, they won't make a profit. And obviously, as a business, you need profit to sustain your workers and to employ people, because if you don't have profit, you basically don't have a workforce. Like, you need money to keep a business alive. I mean, it's basically just common sense. Now, this is probably on the creepier side, but coffins are often shipped in the plane's cargo hold, because they're going all around the world. Like, if someone dies in another country or far away and they need to be transported home, they will often put them in passenger planes so they are easily transported to their home. Now, another problem I see with planes are the seats are getting smaller, and this is true because they're trying to fit more and more passengers onto a plane, so they will make the seats smaller and smaller. And especially those really small propeller planes, those ones are notorious for having really small seats. Now, this one is probably already known by most people, but the trays are absolutely dirty. So this is why I recommend bringing some sanitary wipes with you. They can come in little packets, and just wipe down that tray, because like the little pop down tray, because some people actually change their babies on those trays. Like, the staff often do not clean them because they only have about 20 minutes to clean the entire passenger plane, and cleaning trays actually takes a bit of a time. Like, just when you go onto a plane, bring a disinfectant wipe with you and clean your tray and time it, and then multiply that impressed by the amount of seats on a plane, and you'll realize how long it takes to actually clean a tray when, nice voice crack Ethan, how long it actually takes to clean a tray when you have like 100 plus seats on a plane. Now, a study found that the superbug MRSA, or MRSA, has been found on 60% of tray tables. So if that doesn't encourage you to clean your tray tables when you go onto a plane, I don't know what will. Now, the oxygen masks that fall down when, there's low pressure in the plane, which means that there's not going to be a lot of oxygen. You have about 15 to 20 seconds to put them on, and that's why they say always put yours on first before helping someone else, because if you help someone else, that's probably going to take you 15 to 20 seconds. So by the time you have your child's mask on, you're probably going to already be passed out, which obviously then you can't put yours on, and when you pass out, if someone doesn't help you, probably going to die. So, but the thing is, they also only have 15 minutes of oxygen, but that gives the pilot a whole lot of time to get to a safe altitude. So 15 minutes of air is probably enough for you. Now, when you're in the air, the pilot has the law. They can arrest people, they can issue fines, and they can also take someone's will when they are dying. Because, you're technically not in any borders, and they can obviously call the police, and the police will wait for where you land. But, it's basically their space, so they have the free will to do what I just explained. Now, just saying, if you fly United, your ticket is going to look like nothing compared to your hospital bill. Now, another thing about the bathrooms, I explained about the bathrooms earlier about how you can open them even when they're locked, is they have ashtrays in them. So oftentimes if you look to your left, there'll be the sink and then the soap and then some paper towels and a trash can. Then there'll also be an ashtray. Now, this is only if they get cigarettes through security, but they will oftentimes sit there and smoke because they think, oh, I'm in the bathroom, obviously they won't catch me in here. But even if you get out of the bathroom without getting caught, they're still gonna smell it. So I wouldn't suggest smoking on a plane, and that's why they have the ashtray there, just in case someone decides to smoke, that they have a place to put their cigarette. Now, another thing that you shouldn't do on a plane is flying with your child on your lap. It has been found, even just a small amount of turbulence, your arms are not enough to hold your child. So I know having your child right on your lap is going to cost you an extra ticket, but what's more important, saving maybe a couple $100 or your child's life? I'm pretty sure you're going to pick your child's life. You might have to break the bank, but it's way better than having your child dying. Now, oftentimes the maintenance crews are from overseas, and a lot of times they don't meet FFA standards, and FFA stands for Federal Aviation Administration. And actually, this is a weird case, but in 2007, a few maintenance crew members from Nepal Airlines actually sacrificed 2 goats to the Hindu god of sky protection to fix an electrical problem. But the funny thing was, it actually was fixed and the plane made it to its destination. So I think that was a coincidence, or maybe there are gods. We may never know. Now, often screws will be missing from the plane's wings or on the body. Now, plane wing can have up to like 30 screws lost and still be held together with no trouble. But there's like 50 screws missing, then you might have a problem. Now, this is for when you are flying with your pets, like in the situation where you really need to bring your pet. You should include their name on the cage so that the maintenance crews can say your pet's name to help calm them down, because if you have the name included and they hear their name, they will calm down. Now, if you're given earbuds or blankets, just know that probably a couple other people have used them, because they do not have time to clean those stuff in those 20 minutes that are in between flights. So just know that that blanket you've been given probably has been used by about maybe 3 other people. Now, one of the sad things about airports is a lot of times bags will be lost, and it is a lot of time a pain in the ass to get your bag back. So when you're going onto the plane, make sure that you bring all your essentials with you. That way, if your bag is lost, you still have enough stuff to, survive for a couple days, like all your toiletries, a couple extra pairs of clothes, so that if your bag is lost, trust you still have all your stuff. And another thing is, if you are nice to the staff, they might actually give you free food, because a lot of times food is thrown away. So, you know, if you say thank you and you compliment the flight attendant, you never know, they might give you some free food. Now guys, a plane window is made out of 3 panes, and that tiny hole in the middle, usually at the bottom, I'll put a picture of what it looks like on screen right now, but that hole is actually used to keep the pressure on the middle pane. That way, if the outside pane or inside pane breaks, you still have 2 more panes to protect you from the outside. Now another thing is, the planes only fly with enough fuel to get to your destination. They'll have a little bit extra for like maybe 15 minutes of flying, but this is because fuel weighs a lot, and the more your plane weighs, the more fuel you're going to need to burn for that plane to travel. So to cut down on costs, and again to increase productivity, airlines will only put in about just enough fuel so that you can get to your destination. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is, do not drink the water unless it is bottled. The water on the planes from sinks and from the tap is absolutely disgusting, and a lot of times the water will contain 100 times more bacteria than is legally allowed in the United States water, like the water from your tap. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave a comment and make sure to subscribe. We were only 2 subscribers away from 140 subscribers and 12 subscribers away from 150, which I don't know what I'll do for 150 subscribers, but and also my channel's 3-year anniversary is coming up only in a few days, and that is on July 14th, which I will have a Q&A. So if you guys have any Q&A questions, make sure to leave them in the comments section below with the hashtag AskDev, which I'll put on screen right now. So if you're new to the channel, subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, and I'll see you on my next video.